Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to PUBG, something a little bit different from what I normally do, but I wanted to show this episode off a bit like I did with World of Warships. Sometimes if I find a good game that I've recorded and played in my own time and I think it's worth going back and visiting it again, then I think it's well worth doing. So me and my good friends are just jumping out of the plane here, and we are heading towards Tambang here in the western side of the map. And you see the other squads who are kind of nearby to us. I actually get quite a late jump. The rest of my good friends are already at Tambang, including Cyber, Azulo, and Smegan. So I get a late jump, but I still manage to catch up for the most part and get within range. Now there is a squad that have landed at ruins, so that's something we need to be aware of when we're kind of planning where to go from now on. Now, PUBG was something that I had really mixed emotions with as a game. I played it for a couple of years between 2018 and 2020, and I got a couple of wins here and there. I think 2 over about 200 hours. But I would always really struggle with it. I was never very good at the game, to be honest. One of the wins I didn't even contribute to. I just happened to be in the team when we ended up winning. And for some reason I decided to just stand here and not do much. Maybe I was looking at the map or something. But recently I've found myself really liking PUBG. I started playing with my friends again the other week, and I'm really enjoying it. I've had a bit of a revelation, to be honest with you. I always wanted there to be like a battle royale game that I liked. I was always sad that the Hunger Games or the films never got a video game tie-in. But I guess maybe killing children isn't a great look. But there are darker things in video games at some point as well. But I always wanted it because I always thought it was a really fascinating concept, and for a while PUBG was the closest one to that. There was Fortnite as well, but it's never quite really my cup of tea. Fortnite, to do with the building. This one felt a lot more gritty. It felt a lot more realistic, but I still struggled to enjoy it at times because I wasn't very good. I'm still not very good, to be perfectly honest with you, but I found myself being a bit more measured, being a bit more careful with things, and actually not panicking as much. I still, my heart still beats at the right moments, and I still do have issues when it comes to stress, but I don't just kind of fire wildly off into the distance. I do get suppressed there, which I'm pretty happy with. But yeah, I don't just like fire off into the distance manically and hope for the best. I actually have, I actually try to understand what I'm doing a little bit more, which is really nice, and it means that, especially when you work with a squad that you're familiar with, you have voice communication with, it really helps to create a fun atmosphere to play in, and it creates some really tense battles, some really interesting strategies, and I've really been enjoying it, and that's not something I could say for a long old time, to be perfectly honest with you. This is our group's favourite map. We like here, we like Tambang especially. We seem to have rather good success when we come over here. So at the moment we're just looting up, as is the kind of first bits in PUBG. You're just looting around, you're getting some basic equipment. I think I got some pretty good guns here with either 4 or 6 times scope. What I don't have is a very good helmet or bag. I think I got a level 2 bag, but I could certainly do with a level 2 helmet. Level 2 gear is kind of what I aspire to as at a base level. I tried to jump out the window and fail miserably. This is the first time I'm actually watching this back, having played the game, so this will be interesting to see any bits that I haven't seen before. So, if we look at the map, the circle is kind of the other side of the play area from where we are, but that's not necessarily a problem. It's not a hugely big map, it's a lot smaller than some other PUBG maps. I think some PUBG maps can be double or even triple this size, and some can be even smaller, some can be just 2x2 in terms of these squares here. So although we're not that close to the zone, it's not far to get there, which is the main thing. And also the team at Ruins have left, because otherwise we'd see them come up here, So actually, it's quite interesting watching it back on replay and see who's kind of still around, because you get to see the other teams, but only within your own recorded circle, because that's as much as the PUBG replay does. But we're just finishing off looting here, and in that process I found a level 2 helmet, and at this point the blue is starting to come in, so we decide to make a move. We decide to push up to the next compound, just pick up some meds from smoking there, and we get going. I put the gun away because I don't believe there's any imminent threat, and you do run a little bit faster when you're not carrying a gun out in your hands, so to speak. So this gives us a little bit more speed. I think we do try to look for a vehicle without much success, and actually that vehicle problem becomes a significant problem going forward anyway, because we have to end up splitting up quite significantly. So there's a lot of time when it was kind of in doubt as to whether we would have much success, because we really had to split up purely because there was no vehicles around that we could find. I think I do briefly stop in here. Oh, yeah, I just briefly stopped to get some of the medication here. Well, I say medication, it's a can of energy drink, but in PUBG that counts. And there's a couple more things. There's a level 3 backpack there which I take, which is nice. I'm not sure if I end up actually utilising all the space, but it's a nice thing to have regardless. And we push on to ruins. Now, at this point I think we were discussing whether we had, if there's any chance of the other teams still being around. Of course, looking back at this replay now, we know that's not the case, but we don't know that at the time. So, some of my friends find a car, but it only seats 2 people. So we just say to them, get in the circle, because we're quite far away, and the circle will move again. Get in the circle, and we will catch up. We will find a way to catch up. So I head left, and Spring heads right. We look for vehicles. I'm actually just going to switch perspectives over to Cyber here, because I believe Cyber gets 2 very good kills using the vehicle here. So they drive across the road, and I think just crossing the road here is someone, and they go for the good old hit and run, and they take him out with the guns, although they would have been able to take him out with the car as well. Despite the fact there's a lot of people here in this compound, there doesn't seem to be many people that they actually killed another person there, but it's outside my spectator range, so I have to go back to someone else. How do I get back to question is, how do I get now back to myself? Oh goodness me. Playlist. There we go, back to me. They get 2 kills with the vehicles, which is quite good. In the meantime, we are having no luck with vehicles, and there's very little medication here at Ruins, but we're trying to gather as much as we can because it's a long way in, and we know we're going to need to heal up quite heavily because it's going to start chunking. I was wondering why I was aiming at the wall there, but I was just picking up some healing, or using some healing I should say, because again, no real lack of vehicles or anything like that to really push me forward. I head to the river, I believe. I start heading to the river in the hopes of finding a boat, because I'm not seeing any vehicles, and there's not a huge amount of meds here to survive with, any medical supplies, and so my hope is to get a boat and just drive in to the river, kind of a J, and head for the JB square. But to do that I need to find a vehicle in the first place, and it's not all that clear whether I'm going to find one, or even a car or anything of that nature. And we kind of, I see a vehicle there, but as you can see our team is very straggled out. Me and Smegan are still within kind of my remit in this circle here, and the other 2 have moved on somewhere else. I think they've moved up to this area here, but of course we don't get to see that because it's not within my purview. And what I do here, I try and catch up with Smegan. He's found himself a boat, But first of all, I just need to heal myself up because I'm in a bad state. So you get to sit there and watch me bandage for a good old 10 minutes. So we're only in phase 2 at the moment. It's not terrible. It's not trunking yet, but my concern is if I don't catch up quickly, then it will start to have a very large effect, and I don't have the supplies really to be able to continue eating up damage as much as I can. There's another car there, but I see no reason to switch out of this pickup truck that I'm currently in. 18 teams alive and 39 alive, so an average of about 2, maybe slightly more per team. So as a team of 4, in terms of the average, we're doing pretty well. But as you can see here, there's a lot of people in this area, and it's kind of concerning. I'm honestly surprised we don't take more fire than we do when we're here. But I guess there's a lot of people down the south of that circle. I get out now that I've caught up with my friends. The circle's just moved again, but thankfully I'm now within decent range to catch up with them. I actually go on in a bit of a wrong way here, but then I turn around, and actually there's, if you look at the map, number 14 is actually kind of facing towards us, and I believe he actually does see us, but he chooses not to engage, which is quite lucky because we might have been slightly sitting ducks there. But I do pick up some meds here from my friend, and that allows me to heal up because, again, I was in a bit of a bad way. I actually decided to use my bandages here in order that I can save my, I think, singular medkit or singular first aid kit for emergencies, and we'll see that I do need to use it. And fairly soon here we'll actually get our first real taste of combat, and it goes pretty well actually. I'm kind of a defensive player when it comes to most games, but certainly in this game I tend to not actively seek any combat, but what I do tend to do is kind of place myself in a good position and not be unnecessarily aggressive. If I need to shoot, I would do. It's also remarkable that we don't see anyone standing behind those rocks because, again, with the benefit of hindsight, we see everyone there. There's 2 teams of grey, number 15, the 15 and 15 there. Insuk and Terekva. I actually don't end up seeing them moving, which is quite crazy, but I think some of my teammates do. So the play zone gets one of them, and I believe the other guy doesn't survive much longer either. And number 14 there is now pushed back over the other side, and I believe this is where I get a pretty snazzy headshot coming up fairly soon. We do have a few shots being fired in at us, but nothing too bad really. I believe that Smegan here actually calls out that he sees someone over. He sees number 14 over there, but you can also see here that there are some shots happening at that compound ahead. But the other 2 just stay kind of guarding our flank over there. And there's also that number 4. Someone's taking a couple of shots at us, but I'm not entirely sure where that is. But at this point, we see number 14, so I go and support Smegan here to try and get this guy down. At this point, I don't know he's a solo player, but I see him, and he just pokes his head past the tree, and I get hit. I hit the rock, but then get a headshot, and he's a 1-shot kill, which means he has no teammates, which is rather wonderful indeed. So Sven goes to loot him. We stay here kind of in a defensive formation, ready to help out if needed, but that way we can keep the hill in a positive spot to allow us to keep shooting any threats that come in. The other number 15 dies to the play zone as well, so both number 15s die to the play zone, which is unfortunate. I think Smegan actually loses the tree here for a bit, or loses where the body is. You can see him searching around all the trees, but he does go over there and find it eventually. And now, if you look at the map, there's still a great vicinity of people. I mean, 8 teams left, and there's basically 4 teams within the vicinity of us, not including us. And there's kind of going to be a big Scrap of Paradise resort, because that's where it all ends up being. And we just push into the compound. We do a little bit of looting. There's nothing too major here that we really need to go for, but there is some medical supplies which are always very, very welcome indeed. And we get ourselves ready for the next engagement. But so far, I've got 1 kill. I'm pretty happy at this point. I don't always get kills in matches, so I'm very happy to get kills here. And we push up to this rocky hill because it first of all provides some decent cover, but also having high ground is always fairly useful. But you can see we're going to be engaging with that team of pink fairly soon, number 15, I think 16. We're going to start engaging with them soon because we're going to meet them right by this compound very, very soon indeed. And we kind of have a firefight over this road. There we go. We start engaging. So a couple of shots of me, a couple of shots of someone else. I don't really see them because I'm being blocked by the trees. I do see a couple of shots here, and I get a couple of hits off. I need to make sure not to hit my friend there. But we do pretty well, and then we fire shots off just to finish the job, so they don't crawl back to their friends. So that's my second kill, and we've managed to take them out pretty well. But we knew there was some more people around because those 2 guys were knocked. So in PUBG, if you're not aware, when you get shot, you don't die initially. You just get knocked to the ground, but then you bleed out if someone doesn't come and save you after a while. We get pinned down by the Nor City guy here because he's got a fairly good vantage point, and we're kind of stuck in this building. Not that that's a bad thing. We're in the zone, so it's not terrible. But we're getting shot, and we're not really entirely sure where it's from precisely. There is a spot somewhere, but it's just hard to kind of see exactly where it is. So we just, I kind of look around the side, but I'm still not having much success. But they're still shooting at us, and what I do here, I try to be bold, which is something I would never normally do, and that's cross the road. I would never be, I never used to be this aggressive in PUBG or really in any game modes. I tend to play very defensively, as mentioned earlier. But I felt I needed to flush this guy out if we were to have any chance of success. I'd be able to push across safely into this compound, because otherwise I felt we were not going to have a chance. So I push forward here. I see him just behind the tree in just a second. I hear him before I see him. There he is right there. So I get behind a tree. I don't have very good aim here, but I do manage to get some good hits off, and then Cyber from my team manages to actually get the killing blow, which is excellent. No issues with the kill steam. The main thing here is to get the win. But as you can see here, we've still got another team coming in pretty close. There's another guy there, and it's kind of got to the point where we can't afford to not do anything. So I start taking shots out. I knock him out, and I run forward to try finish the job. Unfortunately, I ran out of ammo just the wrong time, and I'm not actually managed to get the knockout. And Cyber does some really good things here. I asked him to come support me on the side, where Smigan and the Azuloso, it's a hard name to say, like mine. We push forward here on the flank to try and get these guys down, and I'm very concerned to try and get this to ensure that these guys don't get themselves up and running. I take some shots off here, but I actually have a lot of issues with missing, and actually I get knocked out by Cyber Jedi here by running across his thing, which is unfortunate. He does manage to take out the last guy here though, and I'm trying to get back desperately into cover to get myself healed up, but we are all sting fire from number 4 there in the circle, and unfortunately He does get me up, but it's a little bit too late, and with little health left, I end up dying to the blue. And Cyber will also go down as well, but what we've done as a pair of us is buy time for our remaining pair to fight and win, hopefully. So we're going to switch to someone else now, because no one over there, myself and Cyber, are both dead. So now we're down to 3 teams with 5 live, and 2 of those people are us, so it's pretty good. And then I die, so there's only 4 alive. We're a team of 2, and there's 2 solos as well. So they're fighting individually, which is good. At this point, Smegan takes out that chap there, so now it's down to 2 teams with 3 alive, and we are still 2 of them. At this point, the other guy, Turkey, he takes a lot of damage from that explosion. I'm not entirely sure where that explosion came from, but I was always very thankful that he did. And Smegan pushes forward here while we have someone up on the top kind of keeping a high ground advantage. We push forward here, and Smegan throws a Molotov through the window because he's not entirely sure where the person is, but it does create some distractions, but also just allows any potential people to be up there to be burned. Obviously there's no one up there, but at this point he sees Turkey, but he's also got the really overpowered gun where you have 150 bullets with extended mag, and so what he does, he just absolutely chucks an opening fire, and we get the win. And goodness me, that's nice, because like I said, it was a very long time from that point since we had got ourselves a win, and it's just, it's cool. It's nice to get a win. It's nice to have really good efficient teamwork, and things go well. Everything goes to plan, apart from when we were struggling with our to get coordinated with our vehicles. And at the very end, we did end up splitting around Paradise Resort, me and Cyber moving up one way and the other 2 up the other way. But it meant that we got things done. Me and Cyber managed to push efficiently at the top. It cost our lives, but we managed to clear enough time and get enough bodies on the ground for our other 2 comrades to win here in the centre. And had we not pushed there, they might have been able to get the other revivals up, and that would have been pretty bad for our 2 remaining teammates. So that has been PUBG. I'm not sure how much we'll see of PUBG, but I've been playing it a lot in my spare time recently, and I really have been enjoying it. So we may well see a live stream potentially with Cyber, because I think Cyber is starting up a channel. I will link his channel in the description. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.